For more analysis, we're joined from Cairo by Youssef El-Sharkawy, former Egyptian Deputy Foreign Minister and Deputy Chief of Farbi Center for Strategic and Political Affairs. Welcome, sir, to the program. US President Donald Trump said that he was aiming for a real end to the conflict between Israel and Iran and added that he is not looking for a ceasefire, but something better than a ceasefire. Also, Trump said that they completely control Iran's airspace. How do you interpret such statements, sir?
In fact, in light of the serious repercussions of the Iranian and Israeli conflict since the first Israeli attacks on 13th of June 2025, and I think that the American role is largely supportive to Israel, as we all know, throughout all arenas, either intel, security, militarily, and diplomacy, as was clearly in the UN Security Council. But I think that Donald Trump's tone is currently combining between the stick and the carrot in the meantime. But in the framework of supporting Israel and his pursuits, on the other hand, solving the issue of the Iranian nuclear program in a manly manner.
Trump warned that everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran, hinting at a potentially catastrophic escalation. Then he deleted the post and said he just wanted people to be safe. Do such statements indicate that the United States is laying the groundwork for a military intervention, sir?
I personally, I do not found this in the context of the U.S. military preparedness, particularly regarding the aircraft carriers of the American fleet towards the region. I think isn't unlikely in a framework of a ground invasion, as confronted with Iran, particularly on the ground, is a very complicated matter and a great serious, as Iran isn't a small country, is 1,600,000 kilometers, and isn't allied Gaza, for instance, 356 kilometers. In addition to the great strategic tips as the popular unity, along with the will and the struggling doctrines of Iran in this term, along with the role of the religious references and the supreme leader and the unity between the people and the Iranian leadership in Iran, that would make it very difficult to choose the ground invasion.
Israel's surprise strikes have killed Iranian scientists and top journalists, generals, stroke inside civilian areas as well. Given the high civilian toll, 224 deaths so far, how will the international community deal with this Israeli aggression?
I believe that Israel may be capable or may not be capable to eliminate or eradicate the Iranian nuclear program, but I think they can, in my view, currently, in order to weaken and degrade its development. But either the American nor the Israeli side wouldn't be able to bomb or eradicate the scientific research as the excellent knowledge of the nuclear scientists in Iran, which means that the Iranians are likely capable to manage to develop their research capabilities with regard to the issue of enrichment. As we know, that Iran, as reportedly said, has a great terminal of the enriched uranium of 60%. Such arsenals that has cylinders, which means that they are very close to produce within weeks, probably, or within a year. And from the other hand, that fostering the opinion for some people that trigger the Israeli side to start the aggression against the Iranian nuclear reactors as a preemptive strike for the sake of halting the Iranian nuclear program.
Israel has struck Natanz and other nuclear-related sites. Given that Israel did not yet achieve its goal of eliminating Iran's nuclear program, is Israel pressuring the United States to join the war to achieve this goal?
Exactly, this is a very important question. And I think that Israel is trying to drag the United States into this war, as the Israeli government, in systematic approach in opposing the power and expansion along with its goals, as we've seen in Gaza Strip in Palestine, along with the genocide in the West Bank, followed by the systematic destruction of the air, land, naval forces in Syria, and approaching the borders of Syria around 67 kilometers, along with the destruction of the Al Golan in Syria, along with the important infrastructures in Yemen. This comes in the framework of, or in the context of Iran's issue. Iran isn't going to be the end, as the Israeli systematic line is the establishment of the new Israeli Middle East, in my views, and an attempt in striking another power in the region through dragging the engagement of the war, as Egypt repeatedly warned in this matter when President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, following the flood of Al-Aqsa in October the 1723 and followed the conference in 2024. With this conference, through this conference, Egypt has warned and to reject the liquidation of the Palestinian cause, but most importantly, that is related to my interview with you, that Egypt had warned, as I said repeatedly, on the dangers of expanding in the regional conflict, why this would produce great repercussions on the region, as Egypt is fully aware, and from time to another to call upon to work on eradicate its main cause, on top of which is the halting of the Israeli aggressions against Gaza and solving the Palestinian cause, establishment of the Palestinian
Got your
state.
point, sir. Sir, while the United States claims it had no role in Israel's initial strike, Trump later said it's possible we could get involved. Do you believe the United States gave prior political or logistical cover for Israel's attacks?
I think, in my view, that Israel wouldn't have been on hold till this day, today, following the 4 days of the Israeli aggressions against Iran, along with the continued escalated operations by both sides, that through which the Israeli strike have managed to strike the infrastructure of both sides. The intel information, along with the logistics and satellite services, are a great service for Israel by the US and the European countries, along with the mobilization of the assets in the Indian Ocean. All this proves us that there is a great and a strong Western support, and I personally fear that this aggressive pressure on Iran that will let it to withdraw itself from the NPT along with the IAEA, as all this operation came in the framework of the IAEA. Such an agency had reached with Iran and the US with the 2015 agreement. The matters were going fine throughout the 5 rounds awaiting of the 6th one, but rationally Israel struck the Iranian order to disrupt the agreement between Iran and US. So the American stance in this time is very sophisticated, but in and all in favor, as we've seen, to Israel, either with respect to the Palestinian cause or right now in this framework of the conflict.
Got your point, sir. Sir, the Kremlin has offered to mediate, but noted that Israel is refusing all peace efforts. How do you interpret Russia's position, and could it play a balancing role given its ties with Iran?
In fact, Russia has great ties with both sides. I served in Moscow, London, and Brussels. Particularly in Moscow, there are great ties with Israel, particularly bilateral ties, and the Jewish nationals in Moscow and their relevant nationals with America. So it is very prepared to play this role, along with other countries cited by the President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. And there are actually Arab mobilizations of this context, but I think that most what has been reportedly said in the field of mediation, diplomatic efforts come only in the context of a statement and never been translated in initiatives proposing practical proposals. Particularly the Israeli side, along with America, up till now, they still have the key and never move towards into the issue of a ceasefire, if I may say. But from another hand, the U.S. President Donald Trump mentioned that he will send his envoy Witkoff to the region in order to address the issue of ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Besides,
that was Youssef El-Sharkawy, former Egyptian Deputy Foreign Minister and Deputy Chief of Al-Farabi Center for Strategic and Political Affairs. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable, informative knowledge and insights. We very much appreciate your existence in today's interview. You added value to the program.